dude. Careful.
Did you forget?
Realist Podcast. Welcome to your podcast. This is episode 196 of the podcast. What?
You're pointing at me. I don't know.
You pointed at me first,
Dude.
and it's on video.
No, you pointed at me.
Shout out to Anytime Actors Lab. If you're looking to act, if you don't, you're lost right now, you're in the middle of it, you've been doing it for a while, or if you're brand new, Anytime Actors Lab, it's the best place to do it. They got online consultations. AnytimeActorsLab.com is where you go to get that. Adam Lauder is an amazing teacher. He's been doing it for a long time, and he's teaching you to act truthfully in under imaginary circumstances.
Close, yeah.
I got it so close. Next time I'll get it.
You'll get it.
AnytimeActorsLab.com. And we're back. Welcome back. Welcome home. Shout out to the patrons. Patreon.com/YouAreHerePod. Best way to support us is cheap as a coffee. Yeah. And we're back.
And then Twitch.
Yeah, and we're twitching. We're bringing it back today. And we got a special guest, Jordan, that's going to be on it as well tonight.
Come on now.
Twitch.tv/YouAreHerePodcast. Welcome back. Welcome home. Jordan. Dang. Look, now, this is a problem.
Jordan Toussaint.
We have a problem. Jordan Toussaint is in the building.
That's right. That's right.
But we have a problem.
What?
Because now you guys have that feature film glow. And Mikey's left out. And that's my fault.
You look pale over there.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Look at me. Like, look at where I am on the camera. I'm like,
You're off on the. You're leaning that way. We're leaning this way.
You put yourself closer to the light, man.
You gotta lean
no,
over.
I want to shine the lights on you because you guys did something, man. You guys did something. All right.
Come on.
You completed your first feature film. After how long have you been making films, doing stuff with shooting cameras, doing stuff, Dave, acting? How long has it been?
I think I it's hard to say because even when I wasn't a professional filmmaker / camera person / cinematographer, whatever, I was making things, making short films, making comedy sketches, like doing stuff on YouTube. But I didn't. It was always just like a fun thing to do. But that was, like 2005.
Wow.
As soon as I had a digital camera that shot video, I was making videos with it. But it's been at least 10 years of this like professional work, but that led up to this. And lots of short films, lots of music videos, lots of documentaries, lots of commercials, but no features. And somehow it all came together.
Yeah, dude. This is my first feature too. It's 12 years.
Yeah.
Of like, I'm taking an acting class. This is what I want to do in my life. I'm gonna try to pursue it. And then 12-year road. 12-year road.
Yeah.
2010.
And the cool thing is you guys knew each other for a long time.
We did.
Right?
Yeah.
Part of it.
For almost all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn near.
Which is pretty wild.
It's insane.
You know?
It's insane.
Yeah, I met Dave 2012. So about 10 years ago. Right at the beginning of like all this filmmaking
We
stuff.
watched Sahara in what's the atrium screening room at William Patterson.
It wasn't even the atrium. It was it was just the screening room. It wasn't even like the real like theater. It was the first film festival.
And wasn't it an atrium? Am I crazy? Definitely. I remember.
Either way.
Your mother was there.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And when you guys were sitting together and then we watched that and you were sitting in front of me and I tapped you on the shoulder. I said, dude, that was amazing. That was the first time I talked. I remember like speaking to you and like having a quick conversation.
After seeing the movie.
Like, yeah, right.
Yeah,
there.
we talked.
Yeah.
He's one of the first people I talked to at Willie P, I think.
Really?
I was like I had been there for a little bit, but I didn't really have a ton of friends in the film department. And I was slowly just like meeting people, and I joined the film club and ended up working at school, and like that's how I ended up meeting everyone. But you were one of the first people that talked to me for no real reason other than you liked something I made.
Yeah.
And then I saw something you and Carl made,
Yeah.
or it was before like your stuff came up first, and I remember like I don't know if it was that. Was it that one?
Mike made a movie and I just acted in it.
Yeah.
It was about some.
Everybody was always in everybody else's projects.
Yeah.
I was always like, after that, when I started to meet people, I started shooting more people's projects. And that's like how I think I got the reputation as one of the camera types at school. And then my like the whole senior year, I just shot everything. Everything I could. Everything. Anytime anybody would ask me to shoot anything, I said yes. So,
Dude, if we fast forward now, we're I want to talk about leading up to the film too with you, but like one of my favorite moments and most rewarding moments of like our whole relationship was when me and Adam drove to your hotel the night you got there, and we pulled up with the Sprinter, and you were coming out of the hotel, and like you were like checking out the Sprinter and stuff.
Oh yeah, because you guys were in charge to pick up the equipment.
Yeah.
And you're the guy that knows it all, right?
So he's
How much did you guys know,
dude?
Dave?
Dude, very little.
Yeah, it was one of those. It was one of those things where like I had a really big job. The day we would have been checking out equipment together, so it stopped me from getting down to Texas ahead of time.
If we had that $1 million budget, we could have paid for him to come out early, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I mean the gig I stayed in Jersey for was shooting Bruce Springsteen and the Killers at Madison Square Garden. So I was like, I kind of can't miss this job, but it meant that I had to miss something super important with the feature, which is checking out the equipment.
But we were calling you too while we were at
MPS.
MPS.
I got a couple of calls, but
shout out MPS.
Yeah, MPS was that's our rental house that serviced the film in Dallas, and they were amazing. But luckily they had some camera techs to like help check stuff out and go through everything. But
Joe.
Yeah, that night I got there, it was like late. You guys came through with the van. It was like the first time I was like seeing all the equipment.
What went through your head, dude?
I feel like I knew what we were getting, but seeing it all like with my actual like eyes in front of me, I was like, oh, we're actually making a movie right now. Like this is real. Like it was real for the first time. Because like up till then, I mean, there was so much, I don't know, so much doubt, so much. Yeah. There's so many variables that could have came into play about like making the film and literally not seeing anything with my eyes. Like I didn't even see you guys.
Yeah.
I showed up, I flew in, I took an Uber to my hotel. And I was just there for a while getting settled in, and like I hadn't seen anybody.
That was the day we were getting the equipment, so we were there for a while.
Right. So I was like, I knew I was in Texas at a hotel. We had to shoot the next morning, but I was like, I haven't seen anybody, haven't really like barely talked to y'all. Like I'm here, so I guess I'm doing something. But then when I saw you guys pull up with the Sprinter and like we opened those back doors and like cut the light on, and I just see all the equipment and all the lights laid out and like.
Dude, that thing
the lenses and cameras, the camera and lenses and everything, like it all just kind of like clicked on for me. And I think it was like the first of many moments in that process that I wasn't necessarily expecting. I was kind of expecting chaos, and instead I felt like, I don't know, like pleasantly surprised by almost everything that happened the whole time we were down there, which I can't explain at all.
Dude, I don't know if you can relate to this, but I get no better feeling of when you see like all the equipment like organized and packed, and you're like, oh, like this is the tool belt, and it's like all like set. Like I got everything I need. You're not missing anything.
I know my tools are.
There's a lot of pressure in that moment to make sure that like, because that essentially that entire van of stuff, like God knows how much it was, probably $200,000 worth of equipment, easily. Was under our care now. And like if we do anything wrong, we fuck this up, we break something, it's all insured, we're doing it the right way, but like if we lost even like one light out of our package, it would have invariably changed the whole look of the film. Like we didn't have extra lights, we didn't have extra lenses, we didn't have anything like, but that applied to every single thing. Like we were using like, you know, the picture cars we were using belonged to some of our crew that agreed to let us use it for the film. But like, if we had a flat tire on one of those one day and like it slowed down production, it would have blew our whole day, and we didn't have extra days to reshoot anything. So like the fact that I don't know, the luck of it all, that we got to kind of work in a creative space without any major like speed bumps other than like we literally got one flat tire.
You got a flat, right?
Flat, and it was fixed while we were shooting an interior that day.
Yeah, the production van got a flat one day, but like it didn't go flat. It went flat slow enough that we could get to the location.
Yep.
So while we were actually inside shooting, a guy came and fixed the tire for us, and like it was fixed by the end of the night.
Seamless.
Insane.
Which like, what? How did that happen? Like we could have easily happened on one of the days we were driving like 2 hours, or one of the days that like we needed to shoot like outside somewhere and couldn't like park somewhere to get the van fixed. Like it could have happened at any other point, and it didn't. And it was just crazy luck that it happened on a day when we were in a place where we could get it fixed.
How did you because I feel like since you've been doing like so many shorts, you know what I mean? You get kind of used to, you know, and obviously you want to get the next step of doing a feature, and you probably have like expectations of what a feature is, right? And how hard it may be, and that's always the talk. It's like, when are you going to do a feature? You know, how were like the expectations that you built before doing this thing? How'd it feel after? I mean, it's still not done, I know. You know what I mean? You still got to do post.
Production.
But with production, you know?
Yeah.
That's the main chunk, you know?
I mean,
if you don't got that, you got nothing.
Yeah. I mean, for me at least, I think like my preconceived notion of what making a feature was like was based on like, you know, when you watch BTS of like a big movie.
Yeah.
The people that work on big films, their experience of making a feature is not what our experience was.
No way.
You've got layers to that, like, you know, layers of insulation essentially, where you've got everything from accounting to on-set medics to like, you know, like they have PAs that just charge the walkie-talkies at the end of the night. Like they have like, there's just layers to everything that we couldn't afford. But I went into it kind of maybe blindly, maybe stupidly, assuming that we would figure it out, because we have figured it out on every other project. We've had a lot of luck with our short films too, that they've gone off without a hitch. A lot of really talented people working on them, great producers, great people, you know, behind the wheel kind of steering the project. But this one, I didn't know anybody other than you and Adam and Katie. Like, and I went down kind of, you know, only meeting my crew on Zoom, like, not really being able to like figure out their vibe, being able to figure out what they did or didn't know. Like, cause how much can you really tell about someone on 30-minute Zoom call? I wouldn't pass judgment on somebody with that little amount of information. So I kind of was just like, they seem cool. As long as they show up and we can like figure out a way to work together, we'll be okay. And then I ended up getting there and like everybody worked together really well, and everybody was so into it, and everyone was so down to like work hard and go well beyond like what they needed to do. And I tried my best to keep like everyone's roles really defined and everything, because I've been on sets where I didn't know what my role was, or I felt like the roles weren't well established, and everyone is kind of just like, what am I doing? What is my actual job? What's expected of me each day? And I wanted that to be like as clear as possible for our crew. Cause I felt it was my responsibility to like hone that in and make sure that nobody was doing more than they had to do, but people voluntarily did so much. Which I mean, in you know, indie land, like everybody kind of does that anyway, because nobody's really there making a ton of money. No one's there, like, I don't know, like it's not like a huge like benefit to like a lot of the below the line crew to work on these kind of projects. Like all they get out of it is like a little bit of money and some experience. But everybody who was there was so into it that like, I don't know, it uplifted me a little bit too in my position. I was like, oh, like these people are like looking for me for guidance and they want to be here. Like, and that was kind of like unbelievable and like invaluable. But I think I was expecting the worst the whole time. I was expecting nothing really. I was expecting to get there and for people to not show up, to flake out on us. I was expecting us to like fuck something up like the first day and people to be like, I'm out, man, no way. And then it went really well. And after the first couple of days, I was like, all right, we'll just keep doing this. And then like after the first week, I was just like, wait, we just finished a week of this? Like, how is this happening?
I was just going to ask you that.
And it just kept going.
When did it change for you? When did you experience like, when did your feeling of, oh, the worst is going to happen change? Do you remember a moment?
No, there wasn't any moment. There wasn't any moment for me where like I didn't stop thinking the worst might happen, because even down to like the last day, like if we had lost even one day or half a day, we would have lost the film. Like, I guess there's a world where we would figure it out and like make it happen. But like, if my camera stopped working, if we lost there was the last, I think it was the last day, we almost lost our golden out batteries. And I was like, we couldn't get them to charge. And I was like, if we lose our batteries, I don't know how I'm going to get like the shots. Like literally the last few shots, like, you know, are moving shots. I need the camera. I need to have batteries on the camera, obviously. and we figured it out. But like, there was always pressure up until the very last minute to keep the wheels turning and like keep things moving. Cause like if we lost any of it, any day, if we mess something up, it probably would have, like, the film would have just like collapsed. And I don't necessarily like working in that environment, but it never really felt like the pressure was getting the best of any of us. We all like we're so excited to be working on this project that like I think the anxiety took a backseat to the excitement. Because sometimes those things play hand in hand. Like you're excited, but you're so terrified of things getting messed up. But like, I don't know. I felt like it was just excitement. It was just like the excitement overrode anything. I was exhausted. I was dehydrated every day. I was fucking running on like 4 hours of sleep every night.
And amino acids. BCAA.
And I was drinking pre-workout every morning, thinking it was like going to help me like stay alert. And it just made me like, I thought I was going to die like halfway through. But like, it didn't matter. You know, I was like, oh, like it's all good. We're just going to start again tomorrow. And every day we made our day. We finished on time. We had a good handle on our equipment. We had a good handle on crew. Everyone, as far as I could tell, walked away happy every day. We were able to cut some things down. Like one day there was an early call after a late wrap time the night before. And I said, like, I think we can shoot this scene without our crew. It could just be me and our director and Dave and our other actor and like just our sound mixer. And we don't need like the rest of the crew, because Texas is so fucking big that even like crew that was self-reporting every day, they were driving like almost an hour to set every morning. And like, they didn't care because they do that. But like, to me, it's like, dude, I'm not going to add an extra hour onto your morning to come. And then you just set up like a flag and go home or like go to the second location for the day. So we pushed everybody but us. We pushed their call time to like 2 p.m. and gave everybody the morning off. And like, it was a little thing that like ended up not being an inconvenience at all for us when we were shooting. Like the scene looks great. We didn't need everyone there, but I was like trying everywhere I could to find ways to give everyone a little bit of a break, because they were all working really hard. And like, you know, like putting people through 12, 14, 16 hour days at the rates that we could afford to pay a crew like this, like it's not ethical, I think. So anywhere we could like pull back a little and say, we'll shoot this one like without sound, or we'll shoot this one like without a full crew, as long as we didn't sacrifice like image quality, it was totally worth it for me to like, oh, I have to pull my own focus on this. Who cares? I have to carry the camera myself. Who cares? Like our producer and AD Joy had to slate those scenes. So like,
that's right.
Not something she normally would have to do, but she's like, yeah, I'll do it. No problem. If it means that our second AC doesn't have to drive up from like South Dallas, like an hour away to do that one job, like then we're not going to have her come up, because like that's such a waste of energy for that person. So we tried to do that as often as we could, because, you know, I think we've all been in positions where we didn't feel like our time was respected. We didn't feel like it was necessary for us to be on set. And that always like drives me nuts on set. So like, I just took all the things I learned, more so like what not to do from other productions I've been part of, and I tried to do that for our crew whenever I could.
Do you feel like it changed you at all, this experience, in any kind of way?
Yeah, I think it's like seeing the footage all come together at the end and like seeing how hard everybody worked, and like, you know, I got some like nice feedback from our crew, from like our gaffer and our grips and like my ACs. Like they all like had nice things to say, and I was like, those aren't things I normally think about myself, but like they talked about how well the production was run, and how like well we all worked together, and how well I ran that part of the crew. And I was just like, oh, like I have to start thinking of myself in a more serious way as a DP, as like someone who could run a set or run like that section of a set. Cause I feel like for a long time I kind of took a back seat, and I know, like, when people ask me what I do, I don't really say cinematographer. I don't say DP. I'll say something generic, like I'm a photographer. Oh, I'm a filmmaker. Oh, I do documentaries, like something that people can like understand. But then I'm like, why do I take the power out of my position like that all the time? I think like shooting a features kind of made me reevaluate my relationship with filmmaking, because I guess up until now, it always felt like it was still kind of just like a hobby or something that I did because I just liked it, but it doesn't seem like a viable, like it still didn't seem like a viable thing, like in the greater scheme of like making films or anything, because I hadn't made anything big enough.
Wow.
It was never big enough. Nothing was ever enough for that for me to say that. But now I'm like, I should just tell people I'm a cinematographer.
Yeah, that blows my mind, honestly, because I'm gonna be real. When I think of like because I'm into like, I started off doing the same thing, like behind the camera, like kind of running stuff too with like, I don't want on set, and like you with like your work and stuff too. You you manage a lot of the a set, you know what I mean, at a shoot, like at a work shoot, you know what I mean. And I always thought of like, you were the one guy that I knew. Like I tell Dave all the time, I'm like, Jordan just knows his shit. You know what I mean? Like he just knows everything. You know what I mean? And that's obviously from the experience. So to hear you say that, I'm like, dang. Like,
well, it's also like I think you sign on for something like that.
Yeah.
You're a DP on a feature film. You are the leader. You are the head of an entire team below you.
yes.
So you are the president of this entire establishment. You have to dictate who does what and how you manage, tasks, giving tasks, and also how are they feeling? You're checking the temperature of everyone. And, aside from all the knowing your shit technically, like you got to also be able to do that. And so like, that's what impressed me, I think, is like you took on the role of being the leader of the entire crew, and like you stepped right into it, and it was kind of like seamless. It was like you had an instinct already to take care of everybody.
Yeah,
that was working with you.
I think like a kind of, I mean, I know it's like a known thing for DPs, but I think a lot of DPs like act as kind of it's like a trifecta of like director, AD, DP, and they all should kind of come together to kind of
three were
run.
always linking up, dude.
But we had to. That's kind of the point. You have to run the crew essentially, and like I kind of want to be a liaison between director and crew, because the director will say he wants something, and I have to translate it into like actual tasks for our crew to do. And I mean, it is something I just think I inherently know how to do, because I've been pretty much every position on a film set, and I kind of know what I want to like. I want to be asked to do when I'm in those positions, but I feel like I don't think I've ever had to completely like take the wheel at that point, because like on a lot of the smaller projects we do, there's just not that much pressure to like do it that way. Like we have time, or we have like a shorter script or whatever. But this day, because there's so much stuff to do each day, and so many days. I mean, this is the longest I've ever like worked on one project. It's like needed to stay organized, needed to stay on top of stuff. But that being said, I mean, like, because of the nature of the way this thing was produced, because I was coming in from out of town, I was seeing most of those locations like the morning I got there.
Yeah.
So I couldn't make up like lighting diagrams, couldn't figure out things ahead of time. Like the best thing was when we would shoot a location twice, because I would know where everything was, like where everything was gonna go. But other than like the mental images I had and the stuff that me and Adam talked about like what we wanted for each scene, there was so much that was still like kind of up in the air until we were there and talking about it and literally writing like on our scripts, like lining the scripts like there based on what we had to work with that day. Like we both had ideas of what we wanted, but we kind of combined our ideas and then changed them together to come up with the final shot list, the final actual like layout of the shots. And like I think overall we were very successful at like translating what's on the page into like actual visuals based on like a minimal amount of like available prep time for each shot. Like we really like kind of try to whittle it down to what we really needed, and I don't know, make it look as good as possible while moving as quickly as possible, because we really like our shooting ratio was so low. Like we only shot, I think we shot a total of like I don't know, if like a 5-to-1 shooting ratio but most shots, like it was a 2-to-1, a 3-to-1, like three minutes of footage for 1 minute of finished film. Like in a lot of scenes, we only did one take of, because like Adam's way of directing is kind of brisk and like he wants it to feel natural, and sometimes that means like dialogue isn't perfect or exactly on the script, but it's more natural and more true to the intention of the scene, I guess, right? If I'm translating that correctly. So it meant that I had to kind of make sure that the takes like right off the bat were like perfect. Like the focus had to be great, lighting had to be perfect. If we really needed an adjustment or we really needed to redo it, we did, but there was so many takes that we only did one. Like so many scenes we only did one take of each shot. And, you know, the nature, too, with these longer form things is, like, you're not going to use every shot the whole time. Like, there's sometimes you only use that wide shot you got, like, for one moment of the scene. Yeah. And then you're in close-ups anyway. Mm-hmm. So, like, we didn't really have to do 5 takes of a wide shot because we're not really going to use it anyway. But
yeah. I think it's huge like, you're so right. I think because now, like, doing the feature, it's way different than the short because now the stakes are so high. You know, you got the funding, you got all this stuff. Is like now, like everything you've done was like a step to this point, and now you can just do it. You know, and it seems like, you know what I mean, like you were able to slide into that position like super easy. You know, because of all the stuff you've done, and you get, you know, what it is on set, and you know what I mean. It's yeah. You know,
it wasn't that big of a departure from our other projects because we work in the same way. Yeah. And I think we swapped out all of the crew essentially, but and the director, but it felt really similar to our short film projects. But that being said, like the funding is a separate thing altogether because like this is the biggest funded project we've ever done. It's definitely the biggest project I've done. But as far as like features go, like there are people who made short films for more money than we had to make this whole feature. Yeah. And like that alone, I think is like what's going to help stand out. But also I think kind of like I'm questioning like, well, for the next one, whatever, you know, hypothetically speaking, if we had even a little bit more money, what would I do differently? What would I do to change the process of making a film next time? Or would I do this again the way that we did it? I don't know yet. I don't think it's been long enough. It's still like all like marinating in my head. Like it's been a week today actually. Whoa. And I'm like still kind of, my head is still kind of like mushy and soft because I just like, I feel like I was like in a, you know, like, I don't know, in like one of those rides at the carnival or you're stuck to the wall just spinning around.
Dude, I'm telling you, I want to know how you felt when you came back from Texas, because I picked up Dave, and when I saw his face, like he came in the car and he sat down, he's like looking around. I was like, "Damn, man, you good?"
I got back. It was like late Monday night. It was raining. It was like the first like rain I'd seen in a while. It was like humid and like. I don't know. It was like 20 degrees cooler than it is in Dallas. And I was just like, oh, it's so good to be back. And like, just like the air feels different here.
That's exactly what he said too.
But as far as like how I felt, I was just excited to feel like I was out of the pressure was off a little bit. Yeah. There's still a lot of pressure because like now the film's going into post, like we're going over everything I did. And that's scary. We would have periodic check-ins kind of to check all the footage as we went to make sure that we were getting what we needed. But now it's like going to get like picked over with a fine-tooth comb and like really examined and really like gone over. And I'm nervous about like, did I actually get everything I needed? Did I do everything I set out to do? But the initial feeling when I got home, other than just pure exhaustion, was like just relief because it happened and it kind of went the way that we wanted it to go. And I was like so unexpected and so like, how did that happen? It doesn't actually make sense. And like,
I keep saying,
I think I'm still kind of just in shock.
Wow.
But I think all of us were like, this thing is gonna this is gonna crash and burn. But you don't want to ever say that. You don't want to admit that because you know, you have to believe in your own work. You have to believe in the project that you've been working on for a year and a half. You've been working on it even longer. And it means so much to everybody who's there. Otherwise you wouldn't be there. So you can't ever admit that you're nervous about it. But in the back of your head all the time, you're like, nothing can go wrong. If anything goes wrong, we're so fucked. But it didn't. And I get home and I'm just like, oh, now I'm like back on my couch with my dog and my wife. And I'm like, what's going to go wrong? There's still time. Something can happen. I literally have we copied the film onto 2 hard drives as we were going. Yeah. And I have one and our director has one in Texas, and they're both in safe places, and I separated them, the nuclear codes. I was like, these can never be in the same place again, or else if something happens.
Check every night before bed.
I was like, these 2 hard drives, into all that money we spent on this film, imagine these hard drives have cash inside of them.
Right there.
And it's a weird feeling because, I'm not normally even when I DP something, I'm not normally responsible for the film. I shoot it, give it to their DIT, and the director holds on to it or producer holds on to it, whatever. And at the end of it, it's 2 days of work, on a short. And, if we're not going to reshoot something if we lose it, but it's it was only this is 2 weeks with a big crew, thousands of miles driven and people flying in and professional actors coming in, and it's not just your friends all getting together to make something. It's professionals coming in who became friends after the fact. So you can't let any of those people down. You can't let the production down. So pure relief with a creeping anxiety in the background. Whoa, what's gonna happen? What's next? Do I have to go back to Texas to reshoot something? I actually went through everything the next day because I was I have to see all the footage. Yeah. So I put it all in DaVinci Resolve, and I synced everything up, and I watched every single clip in the film because I was I have to make sure it's all there. Because I'm so paranoid. Funny. I'm just
Howard psychotic. You were Howard Hughes with the nails and
then I color graded everything too. So I would have stills of every frame. That's
hilarious.
So when someone asks me how the film is, I'm like, oh yeah, look, here's the whole film color graded already. It's been 2 days. And it doesn't it's not great, but I was I have to do it just for my own mental health.
What was it like? Because I'm in the same spot, in a similar spot where I feel kind of mushy. I'm what happened? How did? There's no way this all worked out because we're working with people we never met, and I feel it had to be those people from the jump, and it's just so weird. Avery came into the project, and that worked how it did, and the three of me and you flying out there and getting the equipment and the insurance the night before, and all these things, boom, 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 right down the line. And I'm walking home, I'm home with Lena, and she's like, how was it? And I'm I don't even know how to. So I'm trying to chapter it. I'm trying to make these bookmarks in it. And I'm wondering if you have a moment, maybe that's not maybe it has nothing to do with the film, but something that was memorable to you, because there's a lot of moments that I remember where we're eating barbecue and just having a great time, and Andrew's there, and me, you, and Adam, and just BSing about how the day went and what we're worried about tomorrow or something, or watching the footage with you and Adam in the hotel room, and or being in the cell and shooting that scene, that kind of stuff. I'm always gonna remember that. My whole life, those are gonna be those cigarette burns in my mind, they're not going anywhere, tattoos. So I was wondering, for you, if you have those already. Do you have moments you're looking back on whoa, that's a neon sign of how what that meant to me, or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much any natural break in our production, so what was day one? What did we do on day one?
Day one was, that's a good question. Oh, the Lovejoys in the morning.
Right.
And we were on the highway the first shot, actually.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, but any pretty much any time that we would get a natural break. I remember the last day that our first second AC left. The last day she was on set.
Shout out Rebecca.
Yeah, Rebecca, you're awesome. But like, I remember that it was like the end of week one, kind of was the end of the fourth day, which there was a day off after that. And it felt like, okay, we finished like the first third of the film at that point. Or we finished shooting the first third of the film. And I was like, okay, like this is a milestone moment. That was also like our longest day, right? Wasn't that the parking lot day?
Yeah.
Yeah. We were in a parking lot for like 10 hours in full sun, no shade, like crazy hot, crazy long, a lot of pages to cover. We had a couple
little tents.
We had some easy ups that we got like to give us some shade, but like it was tough. It was a long day. Everyone who's from Texas was like, yeah, whatever, no problem. Yeah, I was like dead the whole day. I was like shot. But then after that, we went to a house at the end of the night for a company moved for like a quick scene right at the end of the night.
Oh, yeah.
And we ended the day like in an air conditioned house, and we got some like really cool lit shots out of it. And like everyone was like in really high spirits for some reason. I think because we're all like coming off a super hard day, and like it was just like a lot more laid back and like fun than I expected it to be. I expected us to get there and for everyone to be pissed off because we were still working even though it was dark out, and like it was a long day. And everyone was just like chill and in a good mood. And we wrapped out our second AC and like finished our day, and everyone was hugging and like clapping. And like, it was just weird because I was like, I feel like on any other set, everyone would be so mad that they were working a long day and like just bummed out about like the weather, how hot it was and how much like they had to stand in the sun all day. And like nobody was upset about it. At least as far as I could tell, everyone was really, really happy. And I'm going to remember that part, like just being in the house with everybody. And like, I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I'm here too. Like I'm also happy to be here, even though I feel like I'm going to like pass out from exhaustion. Like I'm happier than I've probably ever been like filmmaking, because this is my crew. This is like the people now. Like we just went through a third of the film and like we're all still getting along. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I did not expect this. Yeah. And then I think just like there were some really, really emotional scenes where I got to see you and Katie and Avery all really flex on like your emotional like acting and like really bring out something to the character. And like, I never expect that when I'm like recording it. I kind of stay behind the camera and, keep my eye on the shot, but like I get to like experience firsthand, like you bringing this intense moment to life. And that's always like kind of it's always a treat, because most of the scenes we shoot are people talking, people walking, people driving, whatever. And then when you get to see someone doing something super emotional on camera, you're like, oh, this is acting. This is like why you guys are doing this. And so you can bring out like the normal moments, but then these like heightened moments are like, oh, this is humanity, being captured in a little box right now. We get to see it and replay it whenever we want. And it's just crazy. It's a crazy thought that we get to do that for a living.
Yeah. We had, cause I remember I always bring up the I'll meet you there moment when you gave me a hug in between shit setting up, and I was prepping for that. And then we had that same thing, but it was like way, way deeper for me. And it was like the end of the scene, gave me a hug. But it was like I just felt we all like, I don't know how to fucking put words to it, but it's like we grew together on there. We were on this like field trip, but it was like a big boy field trip where we got to like bring everything we've ever done and known and understood, and then be fearful, but then push the fear aside, and then do a thing we've never done in the midst of in a place we've never been. And it was cool because we're like using our technique, and we're like, I've never felt more vulnerable ever. I've never felt more stripped down acting ever. I never had to pace myself in that kind of way. I didn't understand it because I've never done it. But like, your professionalism, but you're also your understanding of like who I am, and then asking the crew to step out for that kind of thing, so that you gave me a privilege of like walking into it without knowing it, without like I didn't see anybody, and he's behind the camera, I didn't even see him, like, and then afterward, like, we're hugging and shit, and I'm like, dude, this is what it's about. Like, we worked so hard, all these classes, like getting laughed at by people, told no, self-doubt, you should quit, no money, lean years. You know, everyone goes through this nonsense, you know, in any field, you know, if you stick to it long enough, but like not instant success in the long road, 12 years, 10 years, 50, you know, it's just a long fucking road. When you find good people though, that like are down to do it with you, like Jordan was with me, it's cool to like experience that together, that kind of moment. Like that's the shit I'm going to remember. That's the shit that I don't, you know, who knows where this goes? I don't know, but like, I know I'm going to die one day. I know the money's not going with me. I know success, like I don't really, yes or no. People like it or people don't. I don't know how that's going to go, but I know what I take from that kind of experience. And like, that's what's going to mean the most to me, that kind of thing. So it was just cool to experience that in a weird, small, magical town of Orchard City and like in nowhere, in North Texas, up in the middle of that drive out there, 2 hours, and you know, just plains and farms, and you know, meeting this Avery girl, and she's fantastic, and now we're friends, and like the crew, like watching. I love just going outside with the coffee on the porch and seeing like Angus and Mason smoking a cigarette. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna miss that shit.
They were essentially all living together at the end, which is pretty wild.
Dude, it was like, I'm telling you, it was like a field trip. That's what it felt like to me. Like
the closest thing I can compare it to is when I went to Ireland right after college to work on a short film with some friends. I've talked about it before a lot, but like I remember that time it felt like the craziest thing I would ever do in my career, which is kind of crazy because it was like an unpaid job with friends. Like we just went out there and like I AC'd for my DP friend Matt, and I remember this intense sense of adventure that I had. Like I wasn't making any money. I was actually spending money to get there, and it was a fun project. It was really another intensely emotional short film that, you know, made by people I at that point hadn't known that long, but like I felt like included in the process, and like it was such for the first like kind of I think like 3 or 4 days I was out there, like we were just driving around Ireland like before we even started production in like a little baby Sprinter van with like a very little amount of equipment, and it was just like the craziest, most adventurous thing I've ever done. And like I thought I might have a similar experience on this, and I can honestly say like I did a little bit, but the sense of adventure was kind of replaced with a sense of responsibility. And I felt like an overwhelming sense of I need to make sure I'm on my shit to make all the money and time and effort worth something. Like that, all that stuff that's being put into this, I have to put in that and more of myself to make sure that like none of that is wasted. We can't waste anything. It's like the most efficient production I've ever been part of for that reason, because there was no extra anything. So like I was having fun, but I felt like I owed it to the production. I owed it to the film to do my best work all the time, every day. So it meant like maybe I didn't have as much fun as I would have if I was like 25 and like just there working for fun. Like but the sense of accomplishment at the end of it, paired with that sense of responsibility, was so much more like satisfying, I think, because I walked away like feeling like I did something versus just experienced something. I got a little bit of both, but like I actually feel like I did something. I made something. We all came together. We worked on it. We put our hearts into it, and like it's a strange like thing birthing this film into the world when like you all wrote it, Adam directed it. It is like purely a passion project, and like you asked a lot of people to come on and give themselves to the project in the same way, and seeing everybody do that and then like it like actually be successful in that way like is mind-blowing. And so that's kind of why like it still hasn't totally settled in. Like a week on, I'm kind of like, oh, like I almost feel like the responsibility isn't over now. Like I still feel responsible for the project. So maybe that's why I'm still so like zonked out. I'm like, I don't know how to feel. I'm like, so like, I feel like I'm still like jittery, like thinking about it. But you know, it was a life-changing experience in that way too. Cause now I'm like, oh, like I can I can be creative and be professional and be responsible for something and still make something I'm proud of at the end of it. And like, it's not just work. It's not just a creative project. It's both. It really is like a duality there. Like, because I make art all the time for fun, for myself, as like a expression of my soul, whatever. But like, this was that and a business like thing. It's the beautiful part of filmmaking and the technical side of it and the money side of it and the people side of it and management and like all these weird things that like when you're an artist, like you don't have to really think about when you make art for yourself. But this is like the biggest collaborative art project I've ever done.
Same.
And that's it. The collaboration, like, it twists you up because if you're like me, you're used to making things in a vacuum almost. And then like over the years, I've had to train that out of me.
Dude, you've been teaching me that.
Yeah, man. It's about getting the right people on it, and it's about sharing the burden because it isn't just me making the film. It's not me just shooting it. If I didn't have the crew that I had, I would have been so screwed the whole time. And like, I owe more to them than I owe to my own past experience or my skills. It's the people propping me up and like allowing me to lead them in any way. Really, it's a strange feeling. Because it's not just an art project for me; it's an art project for the world, and we have to bring it out there. So
that was like the most. It wasn't as challenging. This is what surprised me. This is how I'll say it. Because you know me for a long time. I get excited. I start, creating a thing, and I'm like, I know how this should go. I can't direct for shit, but like, I'll write it. I'll fucking act in it. I'll produce it. I'll fucking get you. You need me to change lenses. You need me to I'll do anything. And for this, it was like leading up to it. I knew, and Adam kept fucking telling me, he was like, dude, you gotta let me. And now we got Joy. Like, let us handle this, all of this going forward. And Jordan's got the whole team. Like, let us do it. And like, he's like, you have a job. Remember, like, your job, what you signed on to do. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm fucking acting this. I gotta be in this thing actually. And like, to do that takes work. That's like, I have to lead up to this. I can't just like show up and boom, I'm in it. I got to really get ready for this thing. And so, that was my experience. It was like I showed up on set with all this work I had already prepared. And then like, it wasn't like fun. Like, it wasn't like, that's the other thing. Like, it was beautiful. Yeah. Like, it was one of the most amazing experiences in my life, but it's also, most all the days, like, we'd be on set and, like I said, I'm watching Angus and Mason have cigarettes, and like Maya's laughing with Rachel, and they're having a great time, and like you, Joy, and Adam are talking about the structure of the thing, what's going to happen on the day, and I'm preparing, and that's my job. So it felt good that I was able to like do my own fucking thing, but I also had this like part of Dave that was like, dang, I wish I could help in some kind of way, or I wish I could laugh with you every chance I get. Yeah,
but I mean, the way that you helped the most was by preparing. I mean,
that's but I felt the weight of it, like you're saying you felt the weight of it. And that's why I was like, I'm willing to stay in my lane over here.
Yeah. Right.
Because that's all I can really help with. Yeah. If I'm being serious, like that's all I can really fucking bring to this story is the acting. I can't, I'd be doing a disservice to every member of the crew and then all the people that helped us out to get here and the years we spent doing this thing, like, and the people who are going to see it after, like, it would be a waste. Imagine I showed up and I'm like trying to make friends with everyone and just like powwow all the time and produce it alongside Adam. Like, I can't do that in that moment. And it was weird. That's what I'm trying to say. It was like a weird boundary I had to set. I never had to do that before. I never felt that way. Not quite. I don't know if
it's weird how you don't equate that though to working just as hard as everybody else. Like, we all had to do that, but like you putting in that amount of work towards your performance is exactly what you need to do. That's what I know you just said Adam told you, but that's true.
Yeah.
Like, and on top of all that, like, you were one of the key reasons that any of us were there making a film in the first place. So like, your like responsibility is in getting everybody there and then performing your ass off on camera and like sealing the whole thing up with your performance. Cause like, not for nothing, like like anybody like below the line at that rate, anybody who was on the crew, we could have all changed positions and you wouldn't like, ultimately I'm not sure how much of it you would know. You know my personal style, you would know how well we all work together.
Yeah.
But like without you in the picture, in the actual film, like it wouldn't be the film. It wouldn't be the same film we were set out to make. So
this might be a total gas up to you, but without you making that story with Adam, there's nothing.
Yeah. We wouldn't have made a film. I definitely wouldn't have been in fucking Texas making my first feature. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, it's insane. But
I'm not saying we never would have done it.
No, we would have done
but
it.
we wouldn't have made that film.
Yeah, it would have been a different thing. I'm just trying. I think I'm trying to say like I learned a lot about what it takes to really act.
Yeah.
Because I always had it in my head. It'd be like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm trying to express.
I think it's also different too for you as an actor, because an actor normally doesn't, write the project.
Sure.
Yeah. Like, I'm sure it is. It's tough to see. Like, normally that's something in shorts you have like control over. The way things are going, because you have to. You know what I mean? In a lot of instances. Mm-hmm. But in this time where you're actually being like, oh, you don't have to like put everything into this role.
Yeah, I think that, but I think it was like maybe a stamina thing too, because it's like we were there for a long, to go through that for that 100%. Amount of time. Like I remember, we break and then it's like time to eat dinner,
true.
And you're like,
yeah.
Katie just lost it in my face, and I feel like totally on an island here, and like everyone's having a great. So it was just like a weird lens to have on in the midst of everything that was going on. But I guess I'm trying to say I learned a lot about acting.
Yeah.
I feel like, man. Yeah, I feel like I grew there.
Do you feel like this might be a very personal question, but do you feel like before, like from I'll Meet You There, to before this film was done, do you feel like growth in acting? Like how do you think you grew a lot in acting?
Yeah.
Were you working a lot?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's the first time, and I've been saying it, that my eyes weren't on me ever, like not even a fraction. Like I kept asking Adam, how's this going? Because I'm not watching anymore. Yeah. Because I've been working on fucking killing the ego, chopping it down as much as I possibly can, and then throwing myself into my work and being present for the ride. And like I was able to watch footage and it didn't bother me for the first time ever. Like I didn't even see myself kind of, it was kind of just, that's the work, I was able to like kind of be separated. And then in the shot, I'm while you're shooting it, I'm not thinking like, they light me right, how's my makeup? There's no makeup. There's no fucking, I'm wearing Goodwill shit, like I don't know how I'm going to look after. I don't know. I still don't know. And I don't care. But it's the first time I've felt that way ever, ever doing this thing. And so, it was easier to fall in. It was easier to really like buy into this imaginary circumstance and really bring myself to it and strip myself down to like, by the end of it, like I'm telling you, I've never felt that way. And I've never felt that way to where like Avery, that was my girl. Like that's my girl. So, I don't know how it's going to look totally. I don't know, but I know for a fact that's the most vulnerable I've ever been, and the most mature I've ever been, and the most I feel like I can give someone who watches it now, truthfully. Not that I didn't before. I think I just hit that little final snip on my immature, scared, fearful, young Dave ego in acting.
Wow.
But that's a 12-year process.
Yeah. That's really interesting. It's a huge, that's so
I sound like I'm patting myself on the back. I'm just talking about dude. Realistically how I feel.
But that's what you got to do. You have to analyze your craft, right?
Yeah.
If you really want to, or if you really care about it, you're gonna look at what you do, and if you want to improve, you're gonna notice these things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that was holding me back.
Yeah, man.
For a long time.
So that's amazing.
Yeah. How have you grown, bro?
I think the closest thing I can equate that to is just knowing, I guess the nature of the way I shoot things outside of narrative. A lot of it is dependent on my gut kind of intuition, and as far as lighting and camera placement, and my just instinct as a DP relies heavily on just what is my brain saying that the scene needs? What is our day saying we can do? Like, how much time do we have at this location? How much crew do we have? What are our resources? Like, and I'm pulling, it's almost like a real-time strategy thing. Like, you're like, where can I put this light to get the most use out of
most
it
effective
without having to keep moving it all day? And like, the closest thing to what you're saying is just knowing every day we got the set, and I would know exactly kind of what I wanted, and knowing what we had access to and where exactly to put everything. And like, I think it saved us time to kind of keep things simple, but we settled on kind of like a general look and feel for the visuals, and we pretty much stuck to it the whole time. I mean, there was a couple days where we were shooting outside where we had a little less control, but for the most part, like, every day we stuck to the same kind of plan and kind of acted on it and actualized everything. And the visuals, like, kind of, as far as I can tell, reflect that intention from the beginning. And I just know in the past, like, I've second guessed my instinct a lot. I don't know if that's exactly what I want to do. I don't know if that's the best place for this light. I don't know if that's the exact shot we want. And because I set out from the beginning of this project and I talked to Adam about it ahead of time, I was like, my goal isn't necessarily like visual perfection. It's not to redefine indie filmmaking, cinematography, all that. It's to finish this fucking film. It's to get the shots we need to tell the story. And like, that was my stated goal. And my secondary goal to that was to treat our crew right. And then my third goal was to try new things and like improve my cinematography. But like, deprioritizing being an artsy asshole the whole time and really prioritizing completion and consistency, and then the morale on set was like way more important to me. Making sure that everybody felt like listened to, respected, thanked, appreciated. That was so much greater to me than anything I was going to do with a light, anything I was going to do with my camera. The creative decisions were hugely important, but like, we settled on, like, we didn't settle. We were gifted this huge, like, benefit to the production, which was a set of lenses from Tokina.
That's crazy.
Which was insane.
Tokina.
Like, I hit up Ryan Avery at Tokina on a whim. Kind of, we were kind of struggling with our budget to find a set of lenses that would work with the package that we had, that would kind of have a good feel for what we needed to do, but wasn't going to completely kill our budget. And we just couldn't really find anything that would work that was like serviceable with the project. And I was like, you know what? Tokina makes really killer cine lenses. I'm just going to hit them up and see what happens. Maybe they have a cheap rental kit they can send us, and like, we can do that instead of getting everything through our rental house. Maybe this lens company will like hook us up with a cheap rental. And at first he's like, I don't know, we don't really do those like rental like things anymore. And I was like talking, I was like, no problem, I understand. But then he kept like talking to me about the project, and I was like, well, I mean, he's not blowing me off completely. I was like, oh, I don't know, this is kind of interesting. And then he suggested we check out their like cine zooms, which are, essentially combine 6 or 7 lenses into 3 lenses, so we have a zoom range on each one that in reality is so much closer to what we actually needed for the production, because we're shooting this thing like documentary style, like kind of run and gun almost. There's a lot of movement with the camera, and not having to change a lens every 10 minutes to get a different shot like saved us so much time. And the lenses were beautiful, they looked amazing, they were so nice to work on, and they loaned them to us totally for free, which is just absolutely crazy. I think in total we spent $10 in shipping to send them back, like, because we had to buy a nice box for them to send back.
It's crazy.
That's it. And like, for like the amount of money they saved us, the amount of time they saved us, like any slight difference to our original artistic intention with the lenses, like, fuck that, dude, out the window. Who cares? Like, these lenses were like spot on. They're clean, they looked amazing, they saved us time, they were fun to shoot on, and like, they essentially gave us like a sponsorship for no reason. Like, they had no reason to do it. And I think they're just a cool company who believes in independent film and like wants people to use their lenses. And what better way for them to get like the word out about how good their shit is, but then just like giving it to people who they really like don't owe a damn thing to. Like I've met Ryan 2 times, and for some reason he's like, you know what, I'm gonna help you out. And I was just like, what planet am I on right now?
Yeah.
First of all,
That's the spirit right there. That's the indie film spirit, dude. So Ryan Avery is his name.
yeah, Ryan.
Dude, shout out Ryan Avery.
Shout out Ryan Avery.
Yeah,
Made it happen.
Wayward Kin official
He's
partner.
he's a busy guy. I don't know if he's gonna listen to
All
this,
right, if he
we
doesn't, that's all
appreciate
right.
it.
But
But everybody who's listening, if you are a cinematographer, check out Tokina Vista lenses and the Cine Zooms because they're sick.
That's
and
right.
And that's just
Tokina's an amazing company.
exactly. That's I think that's just so smart though. That's like a business standpoint. Is like that's what you want to do.
oh yeah,
I'm a Tokina lifer for now.
Yeah, me
Exactly.
too.
Look at that.
for
man.
life, dog.
Wow.
Official You Are Here podcast sponsor. Tokino lens
Throw a little
I don't
Tokina
care.
logo on the
for
screen.
free. That's for free.
Yeah, it was like that with everything, man.
Dude, well, that's
I
MPS,
heard, man.
MPS too.
I heard there's a
MPS
lot of miracles there.
I mean, so that's. I mean, dog.
MPS is that was our rental house. They are huge. I mean, they're servicing big productions, you know, all kinds of stuff going through Dallas, going through MPS, and they cut us a great deal on our kit. And we're like small fry shit for them,
Small
like
fry.
one Sprinter van, one camera,
Yep.
like a handful of LED lights, and they like really hooked it up for us. And like, I won't get into numbers, but they just made it happen for us because, again, for them, I think it's like, you know, they take a slight hit on the return they're getting on their rentals. But for us now, like, that's the only rental house I'm going to use when I'm in Dallas.
Straight up.
That's
Straight
grassroots, baby.
up.
That's
like,
grassroots.
As far as like, yeah, guerrilla advertising, like, yo, just giving us a deal on some stands in a van and stuff. Like, you made me, if I ever go back to Dallas to shoot a film, whether it's a feature or a short or a show or a doc or anything, I'm going MPS. So
That's right.
you know, it works out that way. And they're super responsive on social media. They would always repost us. They were like hyping us up on Instagram. Like, they didn't have to do that.
Yeah. No.
They got like, you know, Paramount shows coming through there and shit. Like, they could very easily be like, hey, get out of here, you stupid kids.
No, but I mean, even talking to Joe, like it was just, like the dude who was running the department. He was like
it was Joe and Dennis.
Joe and Dennis.
It was camera and then Jeannie, right?
Yep, that's right.
But they were fucking...
They were great.
Yeah, they're
and
great.
they love film. And they just want to talk to you. You know, Joe was walking us through the whole studio and then showing us the 200-pound tape ball and like the story behind that. Richard Linklater's camera, like chilling in one of the offices. Like, it just cut from the same cloth. Love story and just want to assist and, you know, be of service in their way. And that's the spirit of story, dude.
Yep.
That's what it can do for people. And we got granted a lot of gifts and a lot of really cool relationships now for life. And MPS is one of those. Tokina is one of those. MPS, official partner of the You Heard podcast. Official sponsor of You Heard podcast for free. Yeah, that's for life.
Technically.
Everybody.
Everybody.
The Spur. gave us a
The
discount on
Spur,
our
dude.
rooms.
Garhole,
The
dude.
Garhole gave us that space for free.
Dottie and John at the Spur.
The local
Spiderweb.
local police
Man.
departments didn't charge us for
Danny Jones,
permitting
Joe Pell.
and for a police escort on our locations and to seal off a parking lot for us. Like,
I
there's just a
recall-
lot of stuff that we probably maybe I don't even know if we're allowed to talk about. But
Oh,
they
yeah, maybe we're not.
but they just like we got cut breaks every
Everywhere.
which way.
Everywhere.
Every
Everywhere.
crew member cut their rates for us. Every like
Oh my God,
you know,
man.
like just everybody just did more than they had to do. And it's because everybody cared enough and was excited about this project coming through and just saw, I guess saw the passion that you guys have, because I didn't talk to any of these people ahead of time except for Tokina. Tokina's the only one I can take credit for.
Yeah, that was all you.
Like schmoozing on Tokina a little bit, but I really didn't even do that. All I did was ask them if they had rentals available.
That's so great.
And this dude was just really nice, and I was like,
It doesn't even surprise me, though.
why are you being so nice?
That was the nature of this whole thing.
Yeah.
and that's what everybody was like. They like, you know, they would meet us and they would just be like, you know, we'll help you out.
Dude.
For no reason at all, except
doesn't
because we're
make
just nice
sense.
people, I guess. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. And, you know, with free food from Lovejoy's,
Yeah.
free location from them too. Like, just all kinds of little things that like increase the actual value of the film dramatically. But like, we kept our budget within reason. I mean, like, you know, still the most expensive film I've worked on, but again, as far as features go, it doesn't even click on the radar of features.
Nowhere
Like,
near.
not even 1/10 of a micro budget.
And we couldn't have done it another way. It had to be this kind of. That's what I find strangest about it is, so much was out of our control. We did everything that we could that was in our control, but with the budget we had and the time we had, so many things had to break, and not like 3, like 20. Like there had to be so many things that constantly were in our favor,
and so much happened in the last minute, like the last possible minute.
Oh man!
Like we didn't secure our full crew until like 2 days before. I don't even know, like days before I was in Texas with camera ready to shoot.
Yes.
Like we didn't get everybody on board till like the absolute last minute.
And then in the midst, Rebecca has to move to her other shoot, and then Glenn mentioned to us he wanted to come on the project, and we call him, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll be there."
Glenn came on. Glenn Maxwell.
Shout out.
Well, he's a
Out of MPS.
faithful employee of MPS.
That's right. But he's a filmmaker.
He prepped
as well.
our kit. He's a young filmmaker, and he mentioned when they were checking out the kit that he would like to come and work with us if there was an opening. And lo and behold, there was a fucking opening
for that position.
And lo and behold, he was available, and MPS like made him feel supported enough that he could go and work on this project for a low rate and come on and skip out on work for a week at the rental house. And he just came on, and like, it was a million little stories like that. Like people that came on, like, because like our producer Joy knew someone or posted about it on social media, and they saw her post and were like, I'll give this a shot, and came on and passed up commercial work for a week and a half, or came on because their friend, like our first AC Mason, like knew our grip from other projects or from school. And like, because we had our first AC on, the grip came on, our key grip, Angus came on.
Yeah.
And like, it was just like a cascade of all things like that, like people knowing each other, people vouching for the project, and like it just happening. And it's just a complete mystery to me.
Yeah. It'll stay that way. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
It's a total leap of faith, and we did everything that we could to prepare. We worked on that script as hard as we possibly could. I genuinely believe, like,
we were on how many? You were on like version 12 or something.
12,
something like that. How many?
30.
Oh, my bad.
We were.
I stopped. I'm not gonna lie. Adam would occasionally send me a new version of the script, and I'm like,
dude. Jason,
just tell me what you changed, because I can't, like, I'm not gonna read through the whole script again. But I know it went from like, how long was it originally, like 200 pages or something, down to like 85.
Yeah.
Like over all those rounds of changes, like the script kept getting more and more honed in,
size,
and like I think more shootable as time went on too.
Yeah, for sure.
But I feel like that attention to detail and dedication to like killing your darlings kind of thing, where you just like kind of, maybe not every scene needs to end up in this film. Like, maybe you wrote more than you need to shoot to tell the story, but all the stuff that you did right added something, somewhere in there. You know the backstory. You know all the things that the character went through.
Yeah,
I think it shows up on screen.
Yeah, we're giving the audience a chance to also like think for themselves a little bit, which I appreciate a lot, and I know that was a choice for Adam too. And you even made a couple suggestions on set, like, well, we have to have a quick writers meeting.
We had to. We'd rewrite scenes like in the middle of our day, because there'd be like a very obvious like plot hole kind of, and we're like, how do we write this out without changing anything we're doing? Because like we don't have any time. We'd take like 20 minutes, like where the three of us would go and stand by the tailgate of a truck and just like sit there with our fucking eyebrows like this, like, what are we gonna do? Everyone's like looking at us like, what is happening? And we would figure it out. And there was a couple times when like I was like, what are we gonna do? What the hell are we gonna? How are we gonna rewrite the scene? And then like the one that I'm thinking of at the motel. There's this long scene at a motel, and we need to transition into a second scene somewhere else, but we had already shot the second scene. Right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we shot the second scene on like day 2. This was like day 6 or something. And we're like, how do we finish this scene so it transitions into the scene we already shot? And we had to change parts of the dialogue, but we figured out a clever way to do it. And I think the whole thing's a little stronger now. It's a lot stronger now, and it all kind of makes sense. When before it was like there was a lot that was going to rely on behavior and rely on like, I think a little bit of your momentary improvisation, like what you were saying in the moment, but then now like we had a hard like dialogue transition point. That makes sense.
It's a leaping point.
And when we go into that next scene, like it all kind of fits together now. And that's a weird like puzzle. Like you're assembling a puzzle backwards, like with your eyes closed, kind of like, you know, like you're shooting out of order. You're shooting like multiple days in the same, like there's multiple movie days in one day on set. So everyone's changing clothes. You have to keep track of what wardrobe you wore on which day, and like I have to keep track of what those days looked like because we shot the scene that we're transitioning to. It was like golden hour on day 2 when we shot it, and we're shooting at the motel for the scene that's going to lead into it. It's like I think it was a little earlier in the day, or it was a little later in the night or something, and the light didn't match exactly, so we had to kind of light it so it would be closer to golden hour, like looking, and we had to shoot that whole day separate, like in a weird way to make it all line up. And it really is like the most complicated, like I don't even know, it's like playing Tetris. Like I don't know what to compare it to. Like backwards in a mirror, like you know, like you're like, oh, what are we doing? That's it. But yeah, that's it. It also, that challenge was kind of like, I don't know, it's refreshing. It reminded me why I like doing this, and why I'm like, oh, I'm okay. I'm pretty good at this. Like I could do this. I could do this. And I didn't feel like at any point I didn't have a handle on it.
For sure. Same.
I didn't feel like any of us didn't have a handle on it. Maybe it's because we had an amazing crew.
Definitely.
I have to shout out everybody individually.
Please,
but like
do it.
Joy came on, and she's one of the younger crew members. As far as I know. I'm not going to say how old she is, but she's young. Yeah. And I think this is like her first time producing like anything longer than a short film. I'm not even sure. I don't know.
I can't say.
Definitely her first feature. And she was really just supposed to produce. And because we lost our AD at the last minute, she decided she was going to AD as well. So every day on set, she was running the clock and kind of making sure we were on schedule, and like completely crushed it. And I have no idea how she did it, because like when I was her age, I just know for a fact I was like the biggest idiot on earth and like couldn't like do anything. So seeing someone that's so new in the field and new in their career just get it right away, like and make the process like feel kind of painless and seamless, like it all worked together, and we all brought our best like selves and brought all our skills to the table. And like most of our crew was between 5 and 10 years younger than us. And I just seen the skill and like raw talent that these young people have. Like, I don't know, it made me like just go like, oh, like I don't know, like when I originally heard, I had a bias a little bit ahead of time. I was like, oh, these people they're young, maybe they're just out of college, or they're in college even. Some of them are still in school. Like, they're not going to know what they're doing. Like, it's all the pressure is going to fall on me. And then I get there and they're all fucking crazy good and like incredible and so fun to hang out with. And like, I just like, it just blew my mind. It made me like shut up. I was like, oh, like I'm not going to say shit to them. They're amazing. Like anytime like I felt like we were falling behind, I was like, this is my fault. I have to fix it. Like, it's not like, it's like everybody else is operating at such a high frequency. I was just like, oh, like I have to step up. I have to make sure I'm on top of everything to make sure that all that work that they're putting in is worth it. But yeah, I mean, everybody from like our ACs, like who we said, Rebecca and Mason and Glenn, like Mason would pull focus for me. He was pulling focus with the wireless follow focus. And like a lot of times, like I said, we give him one take and he would just, it was his first time really using the equipment and he just like got it. And we rarely missed a shot because of focus. If we missed a shot, it was my fault. Cause I was like, I like bad framing or something, or I like didn't, there's a lot of like kind of chaotic scenes where I was like following the action like a documentary almost, and he just like fucking knew that wheel, man. He like was whipping the focus no problem. And outside of some technical issues we had no problems with that at all. And our 2 second ACs were on top of it, made sure we were organized, made sure that like they were both really good with their own section of their responsibility. Rebecca was like never had worked in a camera department before, came on as a camera PA, was like one of the best ACs I've ever had. I
don't believe that.
She just like crushed it. She was so fun to work with and like knew her shit, even though she wasn't like a camera person. I was like, dude, if you didn't tell me, I would have known.
She acts.
Wow.
She's an actress.
That's right. Yeah.
Wow.
Which is like, I was like, no, like we're gonna take you, right? You fucking come work in camera now. And then we, like I said, homeboy Glenn fucking came on like, and he's just like a camera brain and just knew where everything went because he like works at the rental house and just like he's just crazy. Like what a person to come and help close the shootout. Literally when we're closing out all our camera kit, he just like
looking it over.
Knew where everything went. It was perfect. And our G&E team, we had Brandon as our swing or best boy grip. He was like Brandon. On top of everything, real positive force on set, just funny, really cool guy. And him and Angus like rounded out all of our gripping. I had Angus pushing me on the dolly a lot. Like it was just great, man. Great. And then fucking Vu came on. Vu, who I think originally was a cosmetologist and then decided he was going to get into filmmaking and do music videos and like started a production company and just like has been doing that kind of indie production company thing for a while and just decided on a whim he was going to respond to our producer's Instagram post and be like, looking for lighting people, and he's like, I can light, and ended up being like the perfect person to ask to do it because he was just down for anything. I was like asking this dude to like, set a light up for me. Oh no, I need to move it to this side for this shot, but then we're gonna move it right back because we don't have time to like just shoot everything from one angle, which is like the worst because like he'll get his lighting perfect, and I'll be like, can you actually adjust that? There was a whole like few days that we were in a courthouse that he had to climb in and out of a window like
onto a balcony
over and over again to like adjust a light. He never said anything. He just like, got you, man, don't worry about it. And he would go outside and adjust the light.
His craft, really cares.
But like again, someone who's never lit a feature.
Dude, I don't understand.
I'm not even sure he really like focused on gaffing like that before. I think he's a DP / like director and like just fucking crushed it. I don't understand.
Maya giving her headaches, and she's totally super chill. I mean, we were.
Well, Maya's another one. Maya's a former engineer,
and she's
who's getting into filmmaking,
dude,
and is like
from Jersey.
From Jersey, wow. Yeah, she's a Jersey native, so that's probably why she's so cool. And
that's right.
But she was our script supervisor, and like every take would be like Beast. On the walkie, like, hey, hey, Dave lifted up his right hand on that last one on the take before he lifted up his left hand. And
wow.
And I was just like little things like that. And I was just like, I'm not even paying. I don't know. I was like, really?
Wow.
Keeping us organized. Keep like every take she had notes and like sheets filled out for every take. Every card was written down. So like whoever goes in, when this goes in the post, the editor is going to pick up these sheets that Maya made and like the film will be like laid out for them, like ready to be edited.
My gosh. I mean, everyone, dude.
Yeah.
Who we have? Rachel. Even our set deck. Rachel came on as a
PA. A
PA.
She's a fellow actor.
Yeah.
And ended up being like our set deck / like pretty much anything anybody needed help with, she was helping with. But now she's saying she wants to get into camera, and like maybe watching us work has inspired her to become like an AC or a DP or something.
And she's a student at Anytown Actors Lab right now.
Let's go, man.
And that's how we looped in because like it's like community is so tight and small there that like people come on and just be so happy to be involved in a production at all that like they're just down. They're down for whatever.
James busted his ass holding that boom pole.
James also James was our boom op. James also drove up from like
2-hour drives. He would do something.
He was driving every morning like an insane amount. And we're like, dude, you okay?
He's like, I barely slept. I'm fine. He'd bring donuts.
He'd bring his parents own a donut shop. He'd bring us donuts.
Man.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense. And it won't make sense. Yeah. 5 words or less, how would you describe what Wayward Kin means to you? 5 words or less.
Oh, man.
Just a couple adjectives.
Or
anything.
Controlled chaos.
I like that.
Creative challenge.
Okay.
And I got to make them all C's. and cool.
Dude, I literally just thought in my mind, like, cool.
There it is.
Wow.
Any last words, Jordan, before we start twitching tonight?
No, I'm grateful that that our creative relationship has evolved in this way, that we've like kind of continued to work together. We've continued to grow together, that we've brought on our friends on every project we can get them on, that we've made new friends in other places now. And I think like, if I didn't have you in my life, I wouldn't have that opportunity. So like, I've said this to you, like I've told you this before, but I think like you taking a chance on me is why I still do this. Like, I would be doing something else with my life if I didn't have someone like you, like, giving me opportunities like this. And like it, it counts for a lot for me. So thank you, dude.
Dude, I love you, man. Thank you for being.
And thank you guys for like,
and for being willing to jump out on that ledge with me, man. Because that's a ledge we jump out on together.
Dude,
and like, I sound crazy sometimes.
Well, a leap of faith, like you say, a leap of faith, but it was really like, yeah, it was. Yeah. It was like a road trip of faith. Like you're driving into the unknown for like a full week, just nonstop, pedal to the metal. A leap is like quick. No, this was not quick, dude. This was like a year. Well, it was a year and a half for me of pre-production.
Yeah, man.
But like all of it, it just was, again, controlled chaos is the best way I could describe it. And that's not a bad thing, but it means like we're all like activated. It's like we're like, what can each of us bring to this?
Yes.
That's new, that's consistent. And I think like watching you all work and being able to work in a way that I've never been asked to work before, it challenged me, but it unlocked something in me, and I think I'm gonna keep doing it.
That's the best gift.
You guys got me like, I'm trying to write again, so we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll direct.
Come on,
but that's just like, we'll see what happens.
Bang. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. It's been a minute.
Hell yeah.
Been like 6 years.
6 years?
Yeah.
So here we go.
See what happens.
We'll see what happens.
Exclusive. Jordan Toussaint.
Yeah.
Dave, I don't think I ever asked you this. What does Wayward Kid mean to you?
Oh man. Brotherhood.
But don't go on for 30 minutes.
Nope. I got I'll get 4 more. Brotherhood.
All B's.
Family. I can't. Family.
Family.
Oh man. Faith. Oh. Fatherhood. And forgiveness.
Oh,
all right.
That's actually good.
Yeah.
Wow. Dude, I think last words here. What I think I realized just from watching you guys talk about this and like what you went through and stuff, and from all the personal things I had, like being with the sets that I was on, good or bad, and what I hear, and at the beginning, filmmaking so like it's so magical, but like it's so it's just like never ending, like the world, like all you can learn, and it's kind of daunting at times, but it's like very rewarding. But I think the most important thing about like what makes filmmaking so amazing and magical is like passionate people that are like willing to like all the crew that you barely met, and like we're all there for it. That's the most important thing, because that also means it's people like you that write the thing and bring on people that trusted Jordan. It's all I think about. It all goes back to people that are trying to make something. And that's my final word, and that's the You Are Here podcast.
Yeah. Shout out Kurt, by the way. Forgot to shout out Kurt. Kurt was our sound guy.
Who's Kurt?
Because he was just so quiet, but he's so damn like, he's like a samurai.
Kurt was the sound, dude. Sound mixer. So
let's go. Yeah.
The guy doing what you do.
Yeah. Kurt.
But yeah, he stayed in the room next to me. Did not hear one noise from him.
You wouldn't know.
Quietest guy.
He's a samurai. He's a ninja.
But you know what? Every day we went, like I find out one thing about him each day, pretty much.
He's so cool.
Oh, man, what interesting.
Shout out Kurt.
Beast. Take us out.
You Are Here podcast episode 196. Shout out to the patrons, patreon.com/You Are Here podcast. Best way to support us. Buy us a coffee. Anytown Actors Lab, the greatest and the official partner of the Euro podcast. Anytime Actors Lab. If you're looking to act, if you've been doing it for a while, if you're lost, you don't know what to do, you want to start, it's the place to go. They got online consultations. Adam Louder out in Dallas Fort Worth area, in Texas, doing it in person as well. AnytimeActorsLab.com.
Thank you guys for liking and subscribing to the video today and any other days you have. Thank you for riding with us. We're on Twitch. If you want to hang out tonight or any other night, twitch.tv/You Are Here podcast. Jordan's on it tonight. Get ready.
About to house these guys and smash them.
Let's go. Dang. Here we go, Mikey.
My name's Mike, and I'm signing out.
My name's Dave. I love y'all. Please be kind to yourselves and one another.
Later, y'all.
Peace.
Bye.